The Q2 numbers are in for the Huntsville area market, but before we jump into that, make sure you hit subscribe below to stay on top of all of the latest Huntsville, Alabama real estate news. Everybody wants to know what the average sales price is. Unfortunately, this report did not include the average sales price. It did include the median sales price. That came in pretty much flat year over year, $339,452. If you're looking at the average sales price, again, not including this report, you're gonna be looking probably closer to the 370, 380 range. Homes sold actually slowed for the second year in a row off of the pandemic numbers that we saw in the 2020 years. Q2 2023 was actually the lowest since 2016. And we were pretty much flat this quarter. So 1934 homes sold last year in Q2. This year we're at 1994, just a 3.1% increase. So pretty much flat the last couple of years. And we're really on track for 2017 sales numbers. So kind of a couple years pre-pandemic. Of those sales, 35% of those sales were new construction. So builders are definitely doing their job. Without builders and the additional supply that they're introducing, the local housing market sales numbers would be way, way down. They have doubled, however, since 2015 in terms of new construction. And so again, without the builders' effort and all that they're doing, home sales overall would be way down. So good thing is we have a lot of new construction being developed, which is going to help long-term with that housing supply crash that we had, where we just simply don't have enough housing supply in this country. So again, builders are kind of the story of the day, hitting 35% of the overall sales in Q2. The good news for buyers is that there is more negotiations happening in the marketplace right now. It's really kind of a mixed bag. It's good news for both sellers and buyers because you got a little bit of both. You've got 40% of sales with an average of 4% below list price. So that's good news for buyers. Good news for sellers is still 60% of the homes being sold right now are being sold at list price or above list price. 41% at list price, and then even 19% above list price, even in this market. Still a strong seller's market for a lot of sellers out there. However, that does not factor in any seller's concessions. So even if they're selling at a list price or above, they may still be offering some closing costs or other concessions to the buyers to make the deal work. So as we just mentioned, sales relatively have been flat year over year. However, there has been a couple of price points that have dramatically increased year over year. One that's not a surprise is that $150,000 to $200,000 price point. It is up 22.4% as homes are less affordable, and if you can get a home in that price range, there are going to be buyers lined up for it. I think the biggest difference of this year versus last year, there's just more of that inventory on the marketplace. And again, as much of that inventory between 150 to 200 that can be produced or resold is always going to be gobbled up on this market. The kind of surprise is at $650,000 to $800,000 price point. That price point is up 18% year over year. And then $800,000 and above is up a whopping 45.1%. And I think that is for a couple of reasons. Number one is as interest rates are higher, people that have cash, they're looking to potentially pay cash versus financing. And so a home can actually be a better investment for them than some of the alternatives of money markets and different things. So I think that's one of the elements, but I think the biggest element in those price points is that, again, kind of more of a luxury type market. We have kind of two positions in the economy right now. We have people that have assets and we have people that don't have assets. The people that don't have assets, unfortunately, are really struggling with inflation and the cost of everything in the marketplace, and lack of affordability for housing, whether you're renting or purchasing. But those that do have assets have benefited from the inflation in terms of their property values going up, record high stock values. Of course, we've had a little bit of a stock correction over the last couple of weeks, but still everything is at a record high right now. We have precious metals at a record high, we have stock market at a record high, we have real estate at a record high. And so these upper price points, they have a lot of money, and so they are taking advantage of this marketplace and trying to find more deals in it as well. And it is not slowing them down because of higher interest rates. Another kind of interesting thing to look at, if you just look back 7 years at 2017, just shows you the amount of inflation that we've had here in Huntsville and really across the US. The sales are down 90% from 2017 in terms of homes priced below $150,000. So just a ton of inflation, as everyone knows, that we've had over the last 7 years. In terms of days on market, pretty much flat year over year, up to a 41. We were really kind of kind of close to that pre-pandemic number of 45, but below kind of what's considered normal. You know, back in 2016, we were at 92 days on market on average. So it doesn't feel like we're in that hot market where homes are moving quickly, but if you look back just 8 years ago, homes selling over twice as fast as they were. Pending sales are also down. They've fallen 21.7% year over year. So that does not look good for the rest of the year. You know, we're kind of relatively flat in terms of closed sales, but that pending sales leading indicator looks like we may actually have a worse year in terms of the number of sales in the Huntsville area versus 2023. So again, fell 21.7% from 534 down to 418. Some of the biggest news for buyers is that listings are up 20.8% from 1496 to 1807. So more homes to choose from, more supply out there. We're at 3.2 months worth of supply for Q2, and that's even continue to inch up closer to that 4 months mark as we're now in the August timeframe. So 3.2 months worth of supply is technically a seller's market, but again, in August, we're closer to 4 months, which is more considered a balanced market, 4 to 6 months. So inventory's up. Inventory rose 43% in June alone, June 2024. The biggest increases have been in that $200,000 to $250,000 price range, 135.6% increase, and then also a big 104.7% increase in the $250,000 to $300,000 price range. Now, a lot of that's going to be new construction, $250,000 to $300,000, as builders are looking to help increase affordability. As you know, based on the affordability index and where everyone's average household income is in Huntsville, the $250,000 to $300,000 price range is still affordable for most families in our area. And so builders are doing a great job of making additional supply in that price point. Just wrapping up here with some random facts. Of course, inflation, if you've been watching the headlines, is continuing to come down, or at least by how they're measuring it. Of course, inflation gets measured different ways each quarter, but that's a different topic. So inflation is down to 3% versus 4.1% this time last year and 8% in 2022. So it is heading in the right direction. Interest rates were on average of 7% in Q2, but again, if you're watching this in August, you know that interest rates have been coming down, which for some much needed relief for Huntsville home buyers. And of course, the Madison County population continues to grow. We don't have, of course, 2024 numbers in because 2024 is not done yet. But last year we grew to 412,600 people just for the Madison County area alone.